Hey there guys, Vlad here. Let's get straight to the point. Is this card, the RX 5007 XT, still worth getting in 2021? This is the MSI RX 5700 XT Gaming X, one of the better ones from the 57 XT lineup. But the question remains, is it still good in 2021 and should you get this card? To answer this question, I must show you what it can do and also show you where it fails so you can decide if it is good for you. On the back of the board there is a gorgeous brushed aluminum backplate which is actually used for cooling, not just for the looks, although it does look great and fits into any custom theme you might go when building your PC. Front side of the card sports two large fans, 100mm in diameter and with red accented details on the shroud itself. All that sits on a massive heatsink which, when removed, reveals that MSI is using 6 heat pipes on their cooler, which not only cools the GPU chip but also the voltage regulation circuitry. Once the main heatsink is removed, an additional cooling plate becomes visible. It provides cooling for the memory chips, some minor VRM components, and also helps protect against bending of the PCB because it's attached to the slot cover. The backplate also reveals some cooling pads that are used to cool the backside of memory chips for a bit of extra cooling. The dimensions of the card are 297mm by 58mm by 140mm tall, which puts it in medium-sized cards, and it will fit in most cases, but bear in mind that it's a bit wider than most cards and of course it's super heavy, weighing at 1.4 kilos. There is no doubt that this is a great card. Being from the Gaming X lineup, it means that this one has a massive heatsink and better core clocks than regular models. This custom design cooling solution is designed to squeeze the most performance out of the RX 5700 XT while keeping noise as low as possible. And really, while gaming, I could hardly hear this card. It also has an all-new PCB design with premium 9+2 phase VRM and comes overclocked with a boost frequency of 2025 MHz, which is among the highest rated frequency of any RX 5007 XT card launched so far. Memory is clocked at 750 MHz and the card is equipped with 8GB of GDDR6 256-bit memory. At the core of this card is the Navi chip in a 7nm production process, surrounded by 256-bit memory bus, and all that on a PCIe Gen 4 slot. Actually, I think that 5007 XT was the first ever PCIe Gen 4 card. Sadly, it does not feature ray tracing and DLSS. The GPU VRM is 8+1 phase, controlled by an International Rectifier IR35217 controller, which is among the best controllers available on the market. Memory voltage uses a two-phase design and is generated by an NCP81022 controller. The GDDR6 memory chips are made by Micron and carry the model number D9WCW, which decodes to... it's a large number you'll see on the screen. They are specified to run at 1750 MHz. The Navi 10 graphics processor is their first chip to use the new RDNA architecture. It's produced on a 7nm process at TSMC, Taiwan, and has a transistor count of 10.3 billion with a die size of 251mm². The connectivity options for this card include 3 display ports in version 1.4 and 1 HDMI port with 2.0B support. So enough with the tech specs. I know that not everyone is interested in this, but let's see how this card performs. You know that it was aimed to perform, not to perform, but to sit between the RTX 2060 and 2070, and with latest driver updates it even surpasses 2070 and it's more close to the RTX 2080. So let's see how it performs. So here are the performance graphs, tested with Ryzen 3 3100 on purpose, as it's the performance so similar with Ryzen 5 3600 and 3600X in games, and yet it costs a bit less and has a good OC potential. What's more interesting is that it's also similar to the 1080 Ti, which is still more expensive than this card. Oh, and if the GPU prices are normal, this card would have cost around $430 US, but now it's more close to $1,430 US. Technically, price-wise, also aim to compete with 2070. All tests are done in 1440p, as this is the sweet spot for this card. Some games I tried at 1080p and they gave similar results as 1440p, in some it was some 30% better. But again, 1440p for that sweet spot. So if you look at the graphs, you can see that this card holds pretty well against competition even now in 2021. While this card has its ups and well more downs with buggy drivers, things are polished now and in gaming it is an excellent choice, if you can find it for a decent price now. Problem here being the crypto mining craze, which pushed these cards to insane prices even for used ones which sell around $900 US. During gaming, this card held up excellently, being so quiet and actually pretty constant with temperatures, 69 degrees at full load with coolers being almost constantly below 1000 RPM. And above all, it hits all its target boost clocks without any problems. So this card was advertised as being an ideal card for 1440p gaming, and it lives up to the task, but for productivity it gave me so much headaches, mainly with Adobe Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve. In Premiere Pro it simply refused to work, giving me white screens or simply crashing the Premiere. But I had to go several driver versions behind so it can work. But when it works awesomely because it uses the OpenCL hardware encoding in Premiere and simply the rendering process is so much faster. In DaVinci Resolve, this card is an absolute mess, but that is just on PC. So thumbnail loading is actually taking 30 seconds to 1 minute to just be displayed on the timeline. Scrubbing through the timeline and working in it is again not good, and you guessed it, it's because of the drivers. But there is something you can do about this. See this behind me, this is the macOS running on PC hardware. So you can boot the macOS on the PC hardware and you can actually run all these programs without any flaws because the RX 5007 XT is natively supported in macOS. So I'll have a video ready for this, guys. So how is this card after all this being said? Actually, if you have zero use for productivity and you just want to play games, then this card is an excellent choice. Games run smoothly, no frame dropping, no stuttering, simply said, smooth gameplay all along, and it also supports FreeSync 2 and HDR if you pair it with an adequate monitor. But on the other side, if you're into productivity like video editing, CAD programs and such, you are much better with an Nvidia card. But as I said, you can boot the macOS on PC hardware and with it, it becomes great for productivity. So there you go, guys, it's a top card for excellent price, that is if you find it at MSRP prices, because prices nowadays are simply through the roof. It's without a doubt that RX 6700 XT is a better choice today, but again, I wanted to show you how this one still holds today. And of course, huge thanks goes to MSI for sponsoring today's video. If you like the content, please subscribe, it means a lot. Like and share the video, and I'll see you in the next one.